Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hi, welcome back to the OC Health and Education Show on Little Saigon TV. I'm your host, Julie Yip. Today, we have a great time to talk to Steve Sanders, the president of the Garden Grove Kiwaniland, but also a retiree who is so active in the community. Just before the commercial break, he reminded us that the importance of volunteering, that you have an opportunity to be a mentor, an opportunity to give your valuable time and resources to local nonprofits and organizations that serves our children, our elders, our seniors, and our community. Julie cảm ơn quý vị hôm nay đã theo dõi chương trình Kiến thức y khoa, gia đình và xã hội. Hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Steve Sanders, là một người retired policeman của thành phố Garden Grove, and thêm nữa là một người President of the Garden Grove Kiwaniland. Hôm nay Steve nhắc nhở quý vị, lúc mà quý vị đang về hưu, đừng có ở nhà xem coi TV cả ngày, mà có thể chừng nào mình có chút thời gian để dành thời gian đó để cho giúp cho mấy cái non-profit organization, cái trung tâm phi lợi nhuận, giúp mấy trẻ em hay mấy người cao niên, hay giúp cộng đồng Việt Nam của mình. Bữa nay Julie cũng cảm ơn Steve Sanders đã chia sẻ với mình công việc của đó. Steve, thank you so much for reminding us that, you know, when in our retirement years, we need to keep our mind and our body active, because that's really what keeps you going, and that's what life is about. It's not about just sitting in front of the TV and just a remote in your hand. You know, I get so much pride and so much joy getting to hear your story, getting to meet new people and learning about their journey in life. And it never they never highlight their time on their sofa. What is, in retrospect, what is it that have you done in the community that gives you the most pride of your time?
Well, one, I'm very proud of the police department where I worked. The Garden Grove Police Department, I spent 31 years there. Wow. It's a great organization. It tries to reach out to the community. It tries to be the model of how the law enforcement agencies interact with the community. We're a diverse organization. They are accredited with a group called CALIA. I'm also an assessor for that. I do that in my retirement.
You mean there's more room on your resume?
I do one more thing that you didn't know about. I assess law enforcement agencies for the professionalism, for policies and procedures, much like the school districts, colleges, and
is it kind of like the quality assurance?
It is quality. It's best practices. The Garden Grove Police Department has been accredited since 1986. So I am very proud to have been with that organization, and I still stay in touch with them. I've been retired 12 years, and I think it's still one of the best organizations here in the county. So I was very proud of that. But each of the volunteer organizations I volunteer with, they all have reasons to be proud. When I interact with the Boys and Girls Club, a lot of what I do is help them with their policies, procedures, some of their finances and that. But just going to the sites and interacting with the youth. The Boys and Girls Club have one big fundraiser a year in October. And they end up at Kiwaniland. But they start at the Boys and Girls Club. And they'll have some of the different children there, or youth, because some of them are a little older, and they'll go through some of the different areas that they've been learning in. And some of them have programmed apps. Some of them have built little electronic devices. Some of their artwork, their music. You can't help but be proud when people are walking into that event and the children or the youth are explaining what they have done there. It makes you very proud to be part of that.
Well, thank you, Steve, for sharing so much of your time and, you know, your services in our community to keeping us safe, because I think a lot of times people don't understand what type of sacrifice it requires and what type of toll it has on you for your mental wellness too. As I share with you, my love as being a speech pathologist, it's making sure that our servicemen and women have that mental balance and making sure that they don't, they're not reluctant to reach out for help. Especially during the pandemic, I know a lot of healthcare professionals struggle because they're dealing with so much death, even within their colleagues, in their department, and also the patients that they serve. So I know as a police officer for 31 years, you've gone through a lot. And first of all, I wanted to recognize your services in our community and thank you for what you continue to do in our community. And not to forget you being a serviceman and being a veteran too.
Yes,
you know, because
yes,
those of us who are refugees from the Vietnam War, we are very grateful. And especially you see it in our Vietnamese community, we are so grateful for this opportunity to raise our family here.
Yes.
Thank you again. Thưa quý vị, hôm nay Julie nói chuyện với Steve Sanders. Steve Sanders là một người làm rất nhiều việc trong thành phố Garden Grove, trước nhất là retiree for 35 năm cho Garden Grove PD. Julie đặt một câu hỏi là what makes you proud, làm cái công việc gì mình thấy mình nhớ, mình thấy quan trọng, mình thấy mình hài lòng. Đó, Steve nói là Steve làm trong thành phố Garden Grove cho 35 năm cho police department. Cái police department đây là Steve nói là giống như cái gold standard, là làm cái mẫu cho cái department khác làm công việc làm rất tốt. Steve cũng nói là trong cái thời gian về hưu có một công việc làm nữa, đó là giống như assessor cho Garden Grove Department, đó là quality assurance, làm sao cảnh sát của mình làm việc đúng với làm việc giúp cho mọi người chi tiết hơn. Julie thấy đó là công việc của Steve với mấy trẻ em á, là rất là có ý nghĩa. Tại Steve volunteer 15 năm cho Boys and Girls Club, mà Steve nói đó là mỗi lần Steve gặp mọi trẻ em cười tươi lên vì lý do về công việc làm của mỗi người giúp đó là Steve thấy đó là rất là có ý nghĩa. Steve, you know, as we talk about your work in the community, we can't forget your work with Garden Grove Kiwanis. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I know we're going to go on a commercial break soon. Okay. But tell us, you know, what kind of work you do for Kiwanis as the president, because that sounds like a very important and a very difficult job.
It was challenging during the pandemic. Okay. And Kiwanis International, the mission is to help better our youth, one child at a time. So at the Garden Grove Kiwanis, we are very fortunate that the Hoag Foundation has provided us 3 acres for our nonprofit park.
Wow.
You have been there.
Yeah, but I didn't realize it was 3 acres.
It's large.
It's huge. And there's that open space in Garden Grove somewhere. It's what we call a hidden gem.
It is a hidden gem of Garden Grove. But the club's main purpose, besides sponsoring 2 high school groups and a scout troop on an ongoing basis, is we try to keep the park as pristine as we possibly can and offer it to the nonprofits. And if they're able to make a donation, that's fine. But just recently, it was $10,000 to trim the pine trees and the palm trees. And that didn't count the eucalyptus. We're going to have to wait a little bit to do the eucalyptus and all the other trees because there's a lot of maintenance there. Yes. It's a beautiful gem, but we have a water feature that has water in it, and we fundraise a couple of times a year to try to raise funds to keep the park going. During the pandemic, we had to get into a trust that we've had since the 60s, and we never have broken into that. We were always able to receive donations from the public.
But during the pandemic, you had to dip
into
the
pandemic, we had to dip into that just to pay the water and the electric bills. And during the pandemic, we were also open to some of the nonprofits. They had to meet outside, and they met the county guidelines with the masking and that, but we even had scout troops doing things. We had a dance studio, bringing the stage, and the parents they had their chairs apart from each other because they couldn't do anything indoors, and we were outdoors. So we were able to provide service to youth that we hadn't before. So, you know, again, our whole goal is just to provide a safe environment, because as you said, when you've been there before, it's fenced, you can lock it, and you don't have to worry about strange people walking in on your group.
Yes.
Especially if there's youth there, you don't want strangers walking in. So it's a nice, safe environment. And the car show that we're going to talk about is one of the fundraisers that we do have that's
So when
fun.
is the car show?
It is September 18th.
Okay.
It's a Sunday. It's pretty much a
but
morning
the
through
car show
afternoon.
is to make sure that we fundraise and make sure that this Kiwaniland stays pristine and available to nonprofits, either free or with just a donation.
Yes, the car show is a fun event, but it's a fundraiser. Okay. We charge the entrants that bring a car in,
which is only $25.
Only $25
donation.
And the first 50 get a T-shirt from us.
Okay.
With the logo of Kiwaniland on it, of course.
And what's the capacity? How many cars can you fit in there?
Last year we were close to capacity.
Which is?
We had about 125 cars there.
Wow.
If you go to our website, Kiwaniland.com, you can look at the pictures there, and you will be surprised how many cars come in there. A lot of them are seniors, and I think a lot of them, that is their way of interacting with communities. Okay. And
well,
they'll come
Steve,
out.
I know you have so much to share. After the commercial break, we're going to continue our conversation.
That sounds good.
Julie cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV. Sau phần quảng cáo, Julie sẽ tiếp tục nói thêm chi tiết về chương trình của Kiwaniland, đó là cái car show ngày 18 tháng 9 at Kiwaniland of Garden Grove. Cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV.